Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content.
Wow. All sorts of breaking news. NFL trade deadline on a Tuesday. Welcome in. We're live in LA. I sound like crud. Nobody cares. Sack up. Deliver. LFG. Let's go. All right. Here we go. The Jets are giving Sauce Gardner to the Colts for 2 first-round picks. So my takeaway is Sauce Gardner was a much better player under Robert Saleh because Robert Saleh is a great defensive coordinator. Sauce Gardner is not very good with Aaron Glenn because he doesn't know what he's doing. And the Colts went to Cincinnati, and they stole their defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo, and who was great in Cincinnati, but the Bengals are dope, so they let him go, and the Colts go get him, and they just don't have any good corners. And there's a corner shortage in the NFL. So of all the trades getting made, you see the Eagles went out, and they went and got a corner, and of the moves being made. So who do I like it for? My take on first-round picks, if you don't need a left tackle or a quarterback, you can live without a first-round pick. In the history of the NFL, your best quarterbacks and left tackles, those guys come first round. You can get pass rushers, 4th, 5th round, receivers, running backs, interior O-linemen, linebackers, tight ends. You can get them anywhere. George Kittle, 5th round. But quarterbacks and left tackles, history tells you first round. So the Colts are like, we love our O-line. We like Daniel Jones. We love our coach. We got to go find a corner. It's a pretty decent corner draft, but none arguably as good as Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner reminds me a little of Jalen Ramsey. Long, aggressive, can be a little moody. If the team's struggling, he's kind of not into it as much. But I think a lot of it is he was great with Robert Saleh because Robert Saleh is excellent. He's a strong motivator. I think he's going back to an excellent defensive coach. 2 firsts is a little rich for my taste, but I've said this before. If you are, the trading deadline is for teams like the Colts. They're going to win their division, and they think they can beat anybody. They just had a stinker in Pittsburgh, and they're not overreacting. They're like, listen, we got to solve a dilemma. We all know this to be true. There's never been this many good wide receivers. Just Ohio State alone is sending 2 a year into the NFL. So there's a corner shortage. So Chris Ballard's looking at it going, we have one hole on this team. You all thought it was quarterback. It's cornerback. So they solve it. And the Jets going to have 2 first-round picks next year, and the next year they got to get a quarterback. So the Jets are going to draft a quarterback. Period. End of story. I don't think with Aaron Glenn, I don't care if they drafted Dan Marino. I don't think that's going to work. But they're going to draft a quarterback. Colts have the 26th best pass defense. They're good at everything else. Yeah, Sauce isn't having a good year, but whatever. He doesn't have a good staff. So let's do our herd hierarchy before Nick Wright. Here we go on a Tuesday.
Herd hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to Colin. Number 10.
My coach of the year is Kyle Shanahan. He's winning with peanut brittle and baling wire and duct tape. They have no healthy players. 49ers are 5-2 with a backup quarterback. 3rd down offense, despite a bad offensive line, is top 3 in the league. Basically, the offense is Christian McCaffrey and cross your fingers. This is one of the great coaching jobs you'll ever see. They play the Rams this weekend, who are fully staffed and ready to go, and yet it's only a field goal spread. Niners at 10.
Number 9.
Detroit. Don't always love their coach. Lost 2 of their last 3 games, but they're 5-0 when they rush for over 100 yards. So it's pretty clear the key to this team. When Jared Goff's got an extra beat, when they've got the run game, Detroit's a solid franchise. Are they a Super Bowl winning team? Not as long as McVay and Stafford are in the NFC and Howie Roseman's running the Eagles, in my opinion. Detroit 9.
Number 8.
Listen, the Patriots. They're on a 6-game heater. Drake May, my concern, has been sacked 12 times over the last 2 games. That is a problem. Up front, he's not getting great protection. But when Christian Gonzalez plays, their corner, super athletic kid out of Oregon, they are 6-0. So there is certainly a way they need to play to win, but they're doing it. I have them at 8.
Number 7.
The Bucs. They're going to get Bucky Irving back. They're going to get Chris Godwin back. Now, they've got a tough schedule coming up. They got the Patriots at Buffalo and at the Rams. But they are a team that's living a little bit on that borrowed time stuff. They have 4 game-winning drives. I don't love the way they're winning, but I like their swagger, and they've been able to win all beat up, and now they're getting healthier. Tampa at 7.
Number 6.
I put Kansas City at 6. They're 0-4 in one-score games. They've got to get Josh Simmons is now back after a 4-game hiatus. That will matter a lot. The way to beat Kansas City is clear, Super Bowl or not. Pressure Mahomes. When Mahomes gets hit over 7 times this year, they're not a good football team. He got hit 15 against Buffalo. So they rank 2nd in big plays. They still have an elite top 4 red zone offense, the best quarterback and coach in the sport. They need to solve left tackle. I think with Simmons now they will. Don't sell your stock. I have them at 6.
Number 5.
I have Denver ahead of them because Denver's got a better offensive line, and I love their coach too. Denver's weird. They apparently are the greatest fourth-quarter team in league history. But I will say there's a stat about Denver that's really impressive. They have the best offensive line in terms of protecting their quarterback from sacks, and yet they lead the NFL in sacks. That wears well in cold weather. I've got Denver at 5.
Number 4.
Seattle just added a deep threat from the Saints. That win over Washington looked like Ohio State and Youngstown State. That was a physical, athletic mismatch. 4-0 on the road, won their last 10 road games. Sam Darnold, advanced metrics, he's the best quarterback in the league this year. I'm not joking. PFF has them number 1, too. Their defense is young and getting better. 3 straight games holding people under 20. They are young, but they have an identity. Green Bay's young and doesn't have an identity. I like Seattle and Darnold at 4.
Number 3.
Whoever I put number 3 loses the next week. I'll put Buffalo there. Highest rush percentage in the league. I got to give the organization credit. They were too Josh Allen reliant. They run the football a lot. I think they probably need some help. Interior D-line. They have an excellent pass defense, but you can gash them on the run. But they took a lead on Kansas City, forced the Chiefs to throw, and Joey Bosa, that's why they acquired him. They've also gotten, I said this about 6 weeks ago, I like all 3 of their tight ends. It's a tight end run offense, not a receiver offense.
Number 2.
Are the Rams the best coach team in the league? What don't they do well? Highest overall grade, highest offensive grade by any team according to PFF. Only team to rank top 3 in virtually everything. The least penalized team for the 2nd year in a row. The number 1 run blocking team. When you watch them play, it is so methodical to watch them play. They do everything well. They don't turn it over. And now, I love Matt Stafford, can get a bit reckless. Now that he's not throwing picks, I think they are the best team right now in the NFC with one exception.
Number 1.
Howie Roseman's made a couple of deals at the trade deadline. I'm going to put Philadelphia 1. They're very good in one-score games. And when Saquon Barkley gets 15 touches, they're undefeated. I think the A.J. Brown situation kind of gets in the way. The only way to puncture a great team is drama in the locker room or a severe injury. So I think their last game, when A.J. didn't play, that was their true identity. A power run team, Saquon 15 touches. I think the 2 best teams in the league right now are NFC teams. One doing it on roster, one doing it on coach and quarterback, and a good defense. Philly 1, Rams 2, and with that, Julian Edelman last hour. So the Jets get a receiver from the Colts and 2 first-round picks, giving up Sauce Gardner, who, like everything connected to the Jets, was not playing well. The Colts, whose pass coverage is not good. And remember, it's the AFC. You got Mahomes in the playoffs. You're going to have Drake May. You're going to have Josh Allen. You better be good on the back end. So, that's the reality of it. So, by the way, the Seahawks GM, John Snyder, is one of the really good ones. So the Seahawks are getting Rashid Shaheed. He's a burner. He's a downfield Saints receiver. And Seahawks are sending a 2026 4th and 5th round pick. So a 4th and a 5th rounder for an over-the-top burner wide receiver. All right. Remember, They're not paying JSN anything. He's in year 2, and they're not paying that rookie receiver out of Colorado State anything. So this guy, I think his contract's up at the end of the year. They're going to pay a home run threat over the top. So when you draft well like the Seahawks do, or you draft well like the Colts do in the middle of a season, you can take on some money. So I don't mind what the Colts did. It's a lot. I would have preferred a first and a third, or a first and a fourth, and Mitchell the receiver. But you know what I mean? Go time. You got to be aggressive. You got to take swings. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Whew. A lot happening, Colin, around the NFL. Obviously, the Rashid Shaheed move to the Seahawks from the Saints, that's big. But the bigger move is Sauce Gardner. The Jets, absolute heist, Colin. Trading Sauce Gardner for Adonai Mitchell and 2 firsts. Mitchell's the guy who fumbled the ball against the Rams. Yeah. He basically hasn't played. They haven't targeted him. And they were like, we got to get him out of town. But he is a really talented receiver. You know his game from Texas. And listen, I know Jets fans right now are doing cartwheels. My phone won't stop buzzing. Colin, they got a 2026 and 27 first. You know Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State is in the 27 draft. Yeah. Do you think Daniel Jones is going to keep playing at this level for 2 seasons? I mean, the Jets could be sitting on a gold mine here. I mean, we'll
yeah,
see
but it doesn't matter because the Jets, nothing works. Aaron Rodgers looked washed. Now he looks like a top 12 quarterback.
What?
Sam Darnold looks like the league's best quarterback. Nothing works.
Past. Look to the future. Be positive. Come on.
Well,
I got a head cold. Come on. We got to look to the future. We got to be positive. We're not being negative here. The Jets could win 1 or 2 games. They move off Sauce Gardner. They're sitting on 2 picks. They could get the kid Mendoza from Indiana. The quarterback who's basically Justin Herbert level smart.
What will it matter? Darnold and Aaron Rodgers. Is that kid Mendoza going to be as good as Sam Darnold?
These are different offensive coordinators, different head coaches. Right. Come on, the culture's changing. This is a absolute home run for the Jets. Outright steal. All right, let's move on to the next one, Colin. The Green Bay Packers. Man, that Tucker Kraft loss is brutal. It's real bad for their chances. They got a good backup in Luke Musgrave, but he is not quite Tucker Kraft, let's just say that. Here's Matt LaFleur on his next man up attitude with the offense.
Tuck's a guy that he's not going to flinch, and that's why we love him. I mean, he's a hell of a player, hell of a teammate, hell of a guy. I'm bummed for him. I'm bummed for us, but it's part of it, and it's got to be that next man up mentality. And unfortunate for him, but now other guys are going to get an opportunity.
So it is interesting. I just looked. So the herd hierarchy, you didn't ask me about it, but you had the Eagles at 1. You see on the screen there? They're underdogs against the Packers, who were at home and weren't even in the herd hierarchy.
Yeah. I have them 11.
Interesting. Will that be a pick this weekend?
Could be.
Is it Green Bay?
I'm not saying that.
You're not touching the Packers, Colin. I don't know. I feel like you're being a little bit reactionary to that loss to the Panthers.
Well, who do I put them above? I mean, those teams. I mean, I'm not sure who I'm supposed to put them above. Detroit.
They spanked Detroit in the season opener.
Well, a season opener.
I mean, the herd hierarchy is tough. I'll give you that, but the idea that they're not a top 10 team, that's a bridge too far. They're going to be fine without Kraft. Let's see. The Packers have a couple hours here to make a move. Would not be. I mean, the NFL's getting hot and heavy with trades today. Well, there's a lot of stuff happening.
A lot of young general managers.
I think the Cleveland Browns made a small move. Like teams.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
That Mitchell, that receiver for the Colts, who did a bonehead move.
It was dumb.
In the NBA, no big deal. In the NFL, if you turn a win into a loss, you're done.
Well, there's only 17 games. It was bad. That being said, he is a highly touted prospect. Remember at Texas? We got a Texas guy on staff who raves about this dude.
No, I watched him. I watched Texas football. He's a very good player, but that was a knucklehead move.
Learn from your mistakes. Move on. You can't
I would much rather play for the Colts than the Jets.
Well, Sauce Gardner goes from one of the worst teams in the league to
I would love to be Sauce Gardner.
Well, okay, I'm not going to let's go back to the trade real quick before we move on to the Lakers. So somebody smart on our staff was like, J-Mac, you're getting Sauce Gardner. You're giving up 2 firsts. That's a lot. Who's Sauce Gardner guarding on the Bills? It's not like there's a superstar receiver on the Buffalo Bills.
Well, he's guarding Rashee Rice,
He's guarding Rashee Rice. Okay, we'll give you that.
Okay,
but Rashee Rice just got shadowed by a rookie cornerback, Hairston, on the Bills, and Rashee Rice was like a non-factor. So Ravens, Zay Flowers, you're not really game planning for him. So did you overpay for Sauce when there aren't even elite receivers in the AFC among the contenders like the Chargers? They don't have, like, Cortland Sutton, Ladd McConkey. These guys aren't superstars.
Well, I think the feeling with Sauce Gardner is this was you're not doing it for a year. What you're doing it for is when you face the great quarterbacks in this league in the playoffs, you want to face Denver. You're like, okay, Sauce, you're on Cortland Sutton, single coverage all game. We got to get to Bo Nix, that you trust they can make that move. Sauce is a little Jalen Ramsey to me, where if things go sideways, he goes sideways. I don't think he's a leader. I think he's a good football player. I think Patrick Surtain has more leadership qualities. So, hold on.
More moves?
Okay, just looking at stuff.
Okay. All right, let's go to the final story real quick. Let's wedge some NBA into the show. So last night the Lakers announced no Luka, no Austin Reeves, obviously no LeBron. And they went to Portland and beat your Blazers in a DeAndre Ayton revenge game, Colin. Remember, the Blazers shipped him. Didn't even want to pay him. They're like, get the hell out of town. 29-10 for Ayton. Yeah,
he plays when he's motivated.
Yeah.
Too bad he's motivated about 4 times a year.
Maybe Luka and LeBron can get him motivated. Let me hear some positivity, Cowherd. Come on. You're hammering Lakers, hammering Jets. How about Nick Smith? Young stud. He was once the number 1 recruit in the nation. He had 25 last night. Bronny? And listen, I don't want to, we'll do plenty of
I'll just say this. J.J. Redick impresses me. There's a great, people used to say this about Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson got the best out of every player he had. Now, sometimes a player is limited, but Phil got the best of you. J.J. Redick has shown an ability to get the best offensively out of every Laker. He's done a really good job. So, I mean, Austin Reeves was fine with Darvin Ham. He wasn't this.
No.
Okay, and Austin deserves credit. Bronny James has made a couple of leaps.
He's playing really good at the top of his zone. JJ throwing a lot of junk zone defenses. The teams are like, what's happening here? He is coaching out of his mind. It's only, 8 games in? They're 6-2.
He is squeezing the juice out of all the young fruit, all the young talent, and some of them have a ceiling, but there is value in, the great coaches. Andy Reid tends to get the most out of Hollywood Brown, who otherwise was a bust. He gets the most out of Juju Smith-Schuster. He goes to Pittsburgh, New England. You put him in Kansas City, he's always in on big. He got the most out of a limited Sky Moore. The really good coaches squeeze every last bit out. And I think there are some limitations athletically and defensively for the Lakers, but they have more guys pop for 23 points that I don't think would pop for 23 anywhere else, and Redick deserves credit.
100% agree, yeah.
By the way, Lakers 4-0 in clutch games. Highest team field goal percentage in the league.
Wemby in town this week.
Well,
two of the best in the West. So, OKC has the best record. Fine.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
I say this about football all the time. Is your side of the ball okay? There's a lot of people criticize a coach, and like Ben Johnson. It's not his fault. The Bears' defense stinks. He's not a defensive coach. He's got the offense, number 1 big play offense in the league. So Ben Johnson, so first thing I look at with a coach, does he at least get his side of the ball right? And J.J. Redick offensively, like with Darvin Ham, they didn't have any offensive identity. There's no question with J.J. Redick. He gets the most out of his players, especially his guards. DeAndre Ayton, I'm not going to grand marshal that parade. By the way, for those criticizing the Indianapolis Colts, let's look at 4 of the next 5 games for the Colts. They face Drake London, star receiver, Rashee Rice, star receiver, Nico Collins, star receiver, and JSN a week after that. So 4 out of the next 5 games for the Colts, they face a true number 1 wide receiver, and their pass defense stinks. So instead of turning that Steeler loss into a losing streak, Chris Ballard's like, we're going to stop it now and go get a number 1. By the way, the Cowboys, should be noted, traded Micah and they got 2 firsts and Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark's a very good interior defensive lineman. Those are rare body types. If everybody thinks the Jets stole it, the Jets got 2 number 1s for a top 5 corner in the league talent-wise and a wide receiver who's a little bit of a flake. So I can find those guys at my grocery store, 15-minute drive from here.
Who do you
Kenny Clark is a unique body type interior D lineman.
Who do you think will be drafting that pick later? Do you think the Colts will be like the 29th pick or the Packers? I mean, Green Bay's got much bigger upside than Indy in the postseason. I mean, for all we know, Daniel Jones might turn into a pumpkin the rest of the season.
Sauce Gardner also has a contract. They know what they're going to pay him. Micah did not when the trade was made. So I don't. The bottom line is they're facing a bunch of number 1s. They're star quarterbacks in their division. They don't have a star quarterback. They have Daniel Jones. So defense matters. Yeah. They're the way Indianapolis is going to beat the Kansas Cities and Buffaloes and New Englands is ball control. They have to control the ball with Jonathan Taylor. They're not going to win it because they're the best quarterback. Ball control and just if you lead late, you don't give up a cheap over-the-top touchdown, and that's what Sauce Gardner provides.
It's a good discussion. Are the Colts fool's gold, Colin? Let me just ask you. So Daniel Jones matches up in the playoffs with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are better at coach, quarterback, basically
Chiefs are going to win that game.
Chiefs are going to win that game. It matches up with Lamar and the Ravens. Ravens are probably going to win that game. Matches up with Josh Allen, Sean McDermott. Like, the Bills are going to win that game. I'm not calling the Colts fool's gold, Colin, but I think we got to be realistic. Some of this is, hey, man, they've had a great run, but they're acting like they're legit contenders.
I think they're acting like we have a chance to win the division. We're facing a bunch of top receivers coming up. We got some momentum here. It's a winnable division. Let's go win it and make the move. This also changes the way a locker room feels. Locker rooms are like, bro, all those guys know Sauce can deal. Does it change the dynamic after an ugly loss? So there's a lot of things at play. I don't know if it's a great move or not, but I get the move. By the way, the Seahawks went out and got they got an over-the-top wide receiver from the Saints. And what's interesting here is every advanced metric right now has Sam Darnold, number 1 quarterback in the league. And it's amazing. I never gave up on Darnold. I said when he came out, I said, he's not Andrew Luck, but he's going to look a lot like Andrew Luck. He does. Can be a little reckless, tough, physical, hard-working kid. But it's interesting. Baker Mayfield, when you talk about reclamation projects, Baker won a playoff game in Cleveland, and that year had a 98 quarterback rating. Daniel Jones reclamation project. Not only did he win a playoff game, but in a season, Kevin O'Connell went and got him. A lot of people like Kevin. They like Daniel Jones. People gave up on Sam Darnold. They absolutely gave up on Sam Darnold. And you start looking at this year and last year, I mean, if you just want to talk numbers, he's a top 3 quarterback in the league. Just sheer numbers. The ability to extend the pocket, great deep ball thrower. And their general manager, John Snyder, is one of the sharpest personnel guys. So they got JSN. They got the kid out of Colorado State, the rookie, who first made news when he beat Dion and had a big game. Now you come down. We're going to get an over-the-top guy for Sam Darnold. It feels like something to get a home run hitter. I don't know. It feels like something. Seattle and the Colts. Their takeaway is, all right, we both have reclamation projects at quarterback, but Steichen obviously likes Daniel Jones, and Mike McDonald loves Darnold. So the Colts and the Seahawks made big moves today, and they have what are viewed as reclamation projects, not true star quarterbacks. Well, Darnold is a star, but it's hard to unsee the Jets, where he had a 77 passer rating and more total turnovers than total touchdowns. It's hard to unsee that. Jets are a big market. There's a lot of press. The ghost comment against Belichick. Seattle and Indy are saying, we got our quarterback. We don't need to draft a quarterback. We got our guy. That's what the real signal is. Daniel Jones and Darnold, those GMs and those coaches are talking before these moves and saying, I'm good for the next 3 years with that guy at quarterback. Also, more breaking news. The Dallas Cowboys are giving the New York Jets another first-round pick for Quinnen Williams, who's the best interior run defensive lineman in the league. So Quinnen Williams is unbelievable. So that'll give the Cowboys Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams on the interior of the D-line. And I think the thinking there is, we're not going to get anybody as good as Quinnen Williams in this draft. We still have one. So the Cowboys had 2 first-round picks, right? And their take is we don't need a quarterback. Well, let's just give one up and get Quinnen Williams because Jerry's getting closer to 80 than he is 60. So let's go get, like, dominant defensive linemen, right? So we'll draft around him. We're paying Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Quinnen Williams. The Jets now have 3 first-round picks. My guess is they go get a quarterback with their first pick and then replace Sauce Gardner. They'll draft a corner and a defensive tackle in the first round and get those guys at the positions on the cheap. But if you get a Mendoza at quarterback, you can go buy an offense around him, right? So they didn't, Sauce, Quinnen Williams, those contracts are out the door. You have a rookie quarterback. So the Jets next year should have a completely different looking team. They're going to go buy some offense, but they didn't want to pay for defense. Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner. What they're going to do is bring in that rookie quarterback like Mendoza or Dante Moore and then get veterans around him. They already have their left tackle. They're not very good at center. So you can see what the Jets are doing. They're like, why spend all this money on defense? It's not doing anything. So Sauce Gardner, see ya. Quinnen Williams, see ya. And Dallas, meanwhile, has their offense. Their defense is so bad, and their take is, well, there's no defensive lineman close to Quinnen Williams in this draft that can have that kind of impact. So, the way I look at first-round picks, so the Colts gave up 2 firsts and a player for Sauce Gardner. I think Dallas got a pretty good deal. I just think the body type to be a great interior defensive lineman who has good feet, defends the run, that body type is rare. How many great defensive linemen are there in the NFL? There's not many. So Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams, that helps. And you still have a first-round pick, which I think they'll probably go get an edge rusher. They've got their receivers. They've got the back they like, right? Like they have a corner. They actually like their corners. They've been banged up. So Dallas, my guess is they go draft in the first round somebody to replace Micah, and then they got 2 above average. Quinnen Williams is elite defensive lineman. So I like the swings. So the Jets are expected to get the Cowboys. So the Jets have 3 first-round picks. I think they're going to replace Sauce, Quinnen Williams, and get a quarterback.
So according to Glazer, the compensation still being finalized, Cowboys are giving a second-round pick this year and a first in next year. So the Jets are lined up for 3 first-round picks in 2027, according to Jay Glazer. Boy, what a great day to be a Jets fan, Colin. You don't want to be, we've talked about this for years. You don't want to be in the middle. You don't want to, you want to be on the ends. You want to be at the worst, or you want to be the best. Jets were in the middle, treading water with Aaron Rodgers. No more of that crap. We're starting over with a real quarterback, offensive pieces. You can't win with defense in this league. You know that. You saw what the Chiefs did. They moved off all their defensive guys, basically have Chris Jones, and are rebooting in the draft. And the Jets are doing
Okay, hold on. Jay Glazer reporting, teams are still finalizing compensation. As of now, the Cowboys are trading a second-round pick this year and then a first-round pick the following year. Yeah. So the Cowboys will maintain their 2 firsts coming up in this draft. They'll give up a second, and then the following year. So the Cowboys are saying, no, we have 2 firsts.
Yeah. They think they're going to be good next year. So giving up the one next year, Packers will be good. Listen, if you're a Jets fan, you have to be thrilled, Colin. You know this. I know you don't like the Jets.
Well, you just gave up your 2 most talented defensive players.
And what? What has that gotten us?
Well, that's
0
because
playoff trips with them.
Well, again, I don't think teams are in the business of giving up their best players. I don't think that's ever what you want to do.
They tried to win with defense in New York. Didn't work. They tried the Rex Ryan model. Remember the great Jets defense?
It kind of did work.
What do you mean? They haven't been in the playoffs in 15 years.
Well, no, Rex worked.
Rex worked 15 years ago.
The Jets' problems are way beyond personnel. They don't have the right people running the team. They don't have the right coach. They're bad at quarterback. It is a coach and quarterback league. They're arguably the worst at both.
Well, wait a minute. Dan Campbell initially struggled with the Lions and then worked in year 2. Can we at least give Aaron Glenn a year and change to see if maybe he can change the culture? Can we give him some time? I know it's like, hey, J.J. McCarthy's had 2 starts. He's trash. Oh, no, he won his 3rd start against Detroit. Like, let's have some patience, you know?
I'm not really a patience guy. You're good or you're not. Julian Edelman around the corner. It's the Herd. If you're a Cowboy fan, everybody banged on the Cowboys for the Micah Parsons trade. And that was the one thing I defended them. It gave them flexibility. Just think about this morning. After the trade, they just did. The Cowboys, in return for Micah Parsons, got an additional first-round pick next year. Still have 2 first-round picks. Kenny Clark and now Quinnen Williams. That's 6 Pro Bowls and less than you're paying for Micah Parsons. I said the Micah Parsons deal, do not buy into. It's devastating. It gives the Cowboys flexibility. So Green Bay got Micah. Dallas got an additional first-round pick for this year. So they'll have 2 firsts, and they don't need a quarterback. That is huge leverage. They now have Quinnen Williams, the best rush interior defender in the league. Kenny Clark, another great guy against the run. And they're paying less than they were for Micah. And if you ask general managers in the NFL, if you had a choice between a dominant interior guy or an edge rusher, you'd take the dominant interior guy. So now the Cowboys have 2 of them, Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, because the interior defensive line position is a rare body type. When you can get a guy that's 6'1.5", 330, and has good feet, God doesn't make a lot of those. There's a lot of good edge rushers. There's not many Chris Jones and Aaron Donalds and Reggie Whites on the planet, ever. With that, Julian Edelman, Sundays on Fox, NFL kickoff. All right, trade deadline's interesting. So, and let's revisit this. So a team like the Colts gets Sauce Gardner. Sauce got a little Jalen Ramsey, can be a little moody. Things go south, he goes south. But in the next 6 weeks, next 5 weeks, they face Drake London, Nico Collins. You know, they're facing all these number 1 wide receivers. How do you think Sauce Gardner, hopefully solving a Colts weakness, what does that do to the chemistry in the room in Indy?
I think the corner position's the one position you can bring in and just say, hey, you're going to guard this guy. And I think it's going to benefit them. Sauce coming from the environment he was in New York, probably very unmotivated. Yeah, he's rich. He's got money. But it's tough to lose week in and week out, year after year. And that's what he's experienced his whole career. And we've seen flashes of really good corner. Now you put him on a team that's vying for, you know, pretty much a number 1 seed, a playoff spot. I bet you his attitude changes completely. It reminds me when we brought in Aqib Talib from Tampa Bay. I think it was in 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
And instantly made an impact on our team. And if he didn't get hurt in 13, I think the year that we brought him in, we probably would have beat the Broncos in that AFC championship. Like, that's how big of an impact he had on our team. And I think corners, you know, a really good corner, all you got to say is, hey, buddy, cover 3 or it's cover 1, you cover him. And I think he's going to have a great impact on that team.
Yeah, the Cowboys, when they made the Micah move, my take was always Jerry's a deal maker, and he's been trapped for 2 years. He has no flexibility. Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and they still have 2 number 1s. That feels like, I mean, you know this, Jules, to get 2 elite interior defensive linemen.
Huge. I mean, that we wouldn't have been the New England Patriots if it wasn't for Seymour or Wilfork.
That's right.
Like, we had, and there's a bunch of other guys, Branch, and there's a bunch of guys, but the interior part, if you got a guy that can take away 2 gaps, that's tough on the run game. And once you start to make a team one-dimensional and they can't run the football, then you can dial up better, you know, coverage for your secondary, and you can get more creative. So I think, you know, Jerry Jones, he's been in this league for a long time, and he's put out a competitive product pretty much, you know, as long as I've been around. Yeah, they haven't won a Super Bowl, but like you said, he's got a lot of flexibility now. They got some first rounders. Quinnen Williams is going to be in that same category as Sauce Gardner, where he's probably going to up his game now that he's a Cowboy and he's got a quarterback like Dak and he's got an offense that can score. Like, their play is going to raise. So I think that's a win-win for them.
So Sam Darnold and the Seahawks gave up a couple of mid-picks for Rashid Shaheed, meaning Huge. They can move JSN At Ohio State, he mostly played slot because they had good sideline receivers. So now they can move JSN mostly to the slot where he's, the kid's unbelievable. So your takeaway, how long does it take for a Darnold and Rashid to connect? He is an over-the-top threat, sideline guy, no doubt about it.
When you got a guy that can stretch the field, the happiest guy in that locker room's got to be JSN. I mean, anytime you got another, because all the coverage right now is going to JSN.
Right.
And once you have a guy that can blow the top off, it's going to take one big throw from Sam Darnold to Rashid Shaheed over the top. And then all of a sudden that intermediate pass game with a bunch of their tight ends that they have and Smith and Jigba is going to eat all day. I mean, that's the number one thing you want. And now that you have Smith and Jigba, you could put him everywhere. So you could have a guy he's kind of like the Rashee Rice piece over at the Chiefs. And then you got Xavier Worthy, who's stretching everything. And that's going to be Rashid Shaheed. So as a guy that ate a lot in the slot, anytime you had a guy on the outside that had speed, once you got one pass on the defense, it changes how defenses play you completely.
Yeah. People are banging on the Colts for giving up 2 first-round picks, one next year, one after. It should be noted that 30% of first-round picks bust.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to get guys right in this league. And even if you do get them right, they very rarely hit early. Generally, it takes a defensive lineman or a left tackle. It takes them a year in this league. The Colts going for it, though, is telling me Daniel Jones is our guy. Now, that's much easier for me to embrace in Seattle with Darnold. Darnold right now, analytically, the metrics say he's the best quarterback in the league. Darnold looks like a number one. The Colts are telling you with this move, we don't need a quarterback. We think Daniel is it. Watching the Colts, do you buy that?
I do buy that right now. I mean, the Colts for the last few years have been a quarterback way. Joe Flacco had them pretty competitive a couple of years back, and then they bring in Jacoby Brissett, and Daniel Jones had that little stint over in Minnesota, got to learn and see how this West Coast operation goes, and then Shane Steichen has that kind of same system, and that confidence is showing on the screen each week with Daniel Jones. I remember going and seeing him in New York, and it was just a walkthrough type practice. And you watch Daniel Jones, first off, he's a big guy.
Yes.
And you watch him throw the ball, and the ball comes off his hand, and it's sexy, and he looks like a quarterback. And it just, and it never worked out for him for whatever reason. I mean, the pieces around him. And so once you see him in your system doing well, like Shane Steichen's doing, that's going to be your guy. And he's got some experience, and he's still a young guy. And so, I think the Sauce trade tells you that they're all in for this year, and rightfully so. They're playing really good football, and the AFC is kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah. So Bills, Chiefs have played 10 times. They've split it at 5. I looked at that loss by Kansas City, and my take was they trailed by a touchdown and had the ball late, and they got worked. They got worked in the red zone. They got worked time of possession. Mahomes got hit 15 times. Did you ever have a rival that beat you in the regular season, but in a weird way, you came out of the game flying home thinking, listen, they exhausted. They threw everything they had at us. We're the better team.
Probably one of those Denver or Baltimore teams may have beat us, and then we always saw them a lot in the playoffs. And what this game shows me, in week 9 or week 8, is that the Kansas City or the Buffalo Bills are just further ahead than the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Because when they play next, if they play next, they're going to be completely different teams because of the season, because of a couple players stepping up and creating a name from themselves in these next 3-4 weeks, injuries. So I just take from this game, look, Buffalo, last time playing the Chiefs in Old Orchard, on a 2-game skid, they needed this win. They're not afraid of playing Kansas City. And they just were on their game, and they rushed the ball very well with Cooks. And you look at the Chiefs, they couldn't get anything going on the offensive side of the ball, and Patrick Mahomes had his worst game of the year. So this is going to happen, but by no means do I think that this affects the Chiefs the next time they play, because they'll be a completely different team when they play.
Games with Names is his podcast. It's exceptional. He's on Fox NFL Kickoff. It's Julian Edelman on a trade deadline Tuesday. Great stuff, Jules. Appreciate it.
No problem. Good to see you. Get better.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting point with Sauce Gardner to the Colts. When you have a great corner, just go take out Drake London. You just go guard Drake London. You go guard Nico Collins. I think the Colts think it's go time. I think the Jags beat the Raiders. It gets a little tight. C.J. Stroud's going to play. I think Chris Ballard wants to win the division. Now, I would rather go a first, a third, and then Mitchell. There is a sense on the internet the Colts gave up way too much. I think Dallas did well. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
All right, let's do a little more trade deadline. So, obviously, the moves are coming here fast and furious. Sauce Gardner shipped, obviously, to the Colts. Quinnen Williams traded to the Cowboys. Some more details on that Quinnen Williams pick. According to Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, so that 2027 first that the Jets get, it'll be the higher of either Dallas's or Green Bay's pick. One of those teams flops, Jordan Love goes down, whatever. It's a really, really high pick in 27. Colin, one thing we haven't talked about with the Jets, they had a chance on Sam Darnold. It did not work out. He also flamed out on other teams. They had a shot with Zach Wilson, didn't work out. He ain't an NFL quarterback. They now have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years.
But you know this and I know this. If your coach stinks, it doesn't matter.
Yes, but they have bites at the apple. That's what matters to me. They have 5 chances. The GM, I think, has done really well today. I know people are like, hey, Garrett Wilson, who's he got? Breece Hall, how sad are these guys?
No, what they're going to do, the Jets are going to rebuild the defense on the cheap. They're going to get a quarterback and rebuild the defense with all these first and second round picks. That's what they do. And then they're going to go buy offense because they're not paying the quarterback.
Well, they have their tackles in place.
No. But they'll go buy a better tight end. They'll go buy.
Taylor's good.
I would go get a Pro Bowl. I would go get a Pro Bowl center like the Bears did. Drew Dahlman. Go get. You got Mendoza or Dante Moore. Get a Pro Bowl center. Look at the first thing Ben Johnson did. What did he do? Guard, center guard acquisition, cleaned up the interior O-line. Sean Payton, first thing he did in Denver, cleaned up the O-line. Jim Harbaugh, first thing he did, drafted Joe Alt. All the smart coaches in this league, get the quarterback and then protect him. Forget about all this stuff. And so the Jets, get Mendoza, get a center, and then just draft, keep your defense in the NFL. Nimble, cheap, and fast.
Yeah. So their center last year was Tippmann. He had to move to guard because AVT went down again.
Yeah.
I'm just, you guys get your shots in at the Jets now. Go ahead. Make all the jokes you want. I'm just telling you, the tackles are in place. They got a top 5 running back, a top 5 receiver. They just need the quarterback, and they now have a lot of bites at the apple to make it happen. It's a great day to be a Jets fan. All right, let's move to the other team in New York, Colin, the New York Giants. Brian Daboll has kind of been on the hot seat. But maybe Jackson Dart could save him. I don't know. According to one NFL reporter, they're claiming New York is thinking about a reunion of Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart in New York. Obviously, Lane Kiffin has flopped out of the NFL, but he's rebounded.
That's
really
what
well.
That's what the Jets should do. I think Daboll's fine.
First of all, why is Lane Kiffin leaving? He's the king in Ole Miss. Gets whatever he wants, does whatever he wants. Players, money, private jets, everything. You're going to go and deal with the Giants?
It's the NFL. There's 32 NFL jobs. There's an argument.
And that ain't a good one, though. You want the good ones. Jim Harbaugh went to the Chargers.
I go to the Giants, and I get Abdul Carter. I get those edge rushers. I have my left tackle. I got Neighbors, Scattaboo, Jackson Dart. I'd take that job in a second over an SEC job. In 1 second, I would take a Giants job.
The problem is in college football, the money is getting so big for these coaches.
I don't have any portal in the NFL.
What if you like the portal like Lane Kiffin? You could get awesome players.
Do you like dealing with an athletic director and the NCAA? And
I think Lane Kiffin's more powerful than the athletic
I'm telling you right now, the New York Giants, you go into next year, Neighbors, Scattaboo, Jackson Dart, Andrew Thomas, and rush ends.
It smells like 5 wins to me.
Okay.
You got the Eagles to deal with. Jaden Daniels will be back.
Oh, Jaden
Dallas
Daniels
is loading up. That Giants job. By the way, Bears, this is one of the 2 bets I have so far this week. I like the Bears. You see 3.5 on the screen against the Giants. New York can't stop the run. Back end of their defense is hurt.
Is Swift playing?
I don't know if it matters. I like Monungadi, or however you say his last name, Kyle something. He's on my fantasy team.
How can he be on your fantasy team and you can't pronounce his name?
Well, I'm in first place. I'm sorry. I don't care about last names. All right, finally, NBA story, Colin. This is spicy here. This Ja Morant situation. We haven't really talked about it, but the young man's kind of sort of imploding right now. Obviously, he was suspended after the Lakers game for some comments he made about the coaching staff and being unhappy. So they suspend him. So they bring him back last night. He was putrid shooting the ball at 18 points, but it doesn't matter. He was shooting tour dates out there. Listen to what happened afterward, Colin. It gets even worse.
Were you and the coaching staff able to talk about what happened Friday and move on?
Y'all asked that question to them, huh?
What about for you?
Y'all asked that question, so y'all know the answer to that.
Do you feel like everything's been resolved?
Yeah. They told y'all that, right?
Well, yeah, but we didn't hear it from you.
Obviously, they can't go and tell y'all something I ain't say.
Listen, another domestic basketball player that isn't mature enough to embrace the chance at stardom. That's what it is. Zion, Ja Morant, that's on him. The gun charges, these international guys come over and they're 24 going on 40. They're grown-ups. They're mature. They care about basketball and their teammates and their culture. Ja Morant's issues are Ja Morant. For the record, I said it when he came in. Small, skinny guys that can't shoot. These point guards that can't shoot that everybody falls in love with. Derrick Rose, John Wall. They're tremendously fun to watch. They don't win titles. If you can't, the only skinny, spindly, small guys that work, Steve Nash and Steph Curry, they can shoot threes. So they don't have to go into the redwoods and get banged up and knocked out. Ja Morant can't shoot. His shooting's regressed.
15% on
No, it's gotten worse the last 3 years. So the people falling in love, Derrick Rose, LeBron shut him down. LeBron's a forward. He's like, yeah, I'll guard him. Take the bigger, stronger athletes. Yeah. Do not buy into spindly guards that can't shoot. They'll get hurt. This is a big man's game. NBA guys are, there are so many 240-pound dudes in that league. You can't be a $180 dripping wet.
So it's interesting you say all that stuff. I'm looking, obviously Kyler Murray has not had this many off-field issues, but he had the whole playbook thing, didn't want to work.
Yeah, but his wasn't criminal.
Yes, correct. He did not have the criminal stuff, but there is some petulance and some answers we've heard from Kyler Murray. Ja Morant's is really ugly. I don't know if Kyler Murray has a market, and I'll be honest, I don't know what team's taking on Ja Morant. I got Miami Heat fans. Oh, we'll take him into South Beach. Heat culture, all this. I just don't know.
His shooting was bad when he came into the league. It's gotten worse. I mean, last time I watched Ja Morant, I mean, I think it's 5 straight years it's regressed. He can't shoot. And again, people fall in love with these small, there's the guards I like play defense. D Wade played defense. And not all of them do. Nash and Curry aren't great defenders. But it's the kid in San Antonio from UConn, Stephon Castle. That dude D's you up. That guy I will take. I'll build my franchise around him and Wemby. But these skinny guys who shoot don't really want to defend. They're not culture guys. I mean, the NBA's had a bad month. Just a Hawks executive just got in trouble for swindling. The league, you got Terry Porter and Chauncey Billups. It's very much a me league, and the NFL's a we. Terry Rozier. The NFL's a we league. The NBA's a me league. And all of a sudden we have another player pouting. I don't want to hear it. I mean, the Dodgers, their unity, they're all superstars. Great unity. NBA guy, I don't get my way. I'm out.
He's complaining about the rotation patterns. They got a new coach. It's ugly. By the way, Zion. Don't tell me they traded Breece Hall.
The Jets are asking for a third-round pick for running back Breece Hall.
No, we're not doing that.
I wouldn't give up a third-round pick.
No way.
For
Hell.
Breece Hall.
Oh, stop it.
No
You
way.
would in a heartbeat.
No way. It's running
Breece
back.
Hall's winning somebody a Super Bowl right now. He's that good. It's a running league. We talked about this yesterday. Hey, by the way, Chiefs are shopping. Pacheco out. They can't run the football. Did you see the Bills? Yeah. I saw a video on the Bills played 6 defensive backs for like 90% of the game because they don't respect the run game of the Chiefs. KC needs.
If I'm Brett Veach, I go get him. I'll give you a 4th.
Hell no. Get out of town. Enjoy the wild card loss, Brett.
I'm not sure if you guys can beat Ole Miss this weekend.
Who?
The Jets.
They're playing the Browns. By the way, the Jets were favored by 2.5. They're now underdogs at home against the Browns and Dylan Gabriel.
Nothing like trading away all your good players.
Hey, take a loss. Get that number 1 pick. Mendoza, that's my guy.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
I'm sure the Jets locker room is joyful and optimistic today. It's the Herd.